quite a while to do it, and it rips around the edges almost every day. But it's what I've got to accept. She's not here with us anymore.
Ryan went to Dundee Crown, and she graduated in 2006, and she decided to go to Northern Illinois, I believe mostly because of its proximity. She had a boyfriend, and I think that was actually a factor in her deciding, but she also checked it out and saw that it was a good program for psychology.
She was really into just helping people out, and she had a real tolerance for listening to problems.
Oh, she loved it. She was having the time of her life. She had a job, and she was going to school full time.
The only male victim of the tragedy was 20-year-old Dan Parmenter. Dan died protecting his girlfriend. At 6 feet 5 inches tall, he was a large human shield, taking the bullets that were quite possibly meant for his girlfriend. Dan grew up in Elmhurst, Illinois, and was born with a heart defect. As a toddler, Dan had heart surgery to correct the defect. His parents always referred to him as their miracle child. Unfortunately, on February 14, 2008, Dan wasn't so lucky. He attended York High School, where he played football, and he was very successful at it. While in high school, Dan fractured his back and was told not to play football anymore, so he took up rugby, which was just as, if not more physical than football. Dan was a strong Christian who attended church. He was a finance major and part of the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity. Just hours earlier, he spoke to his mom and sister, wishing them both a happy Valentine's Day. Dan sustained 2 gunshots to his head, 2 in his back and 1 in the side. Northern Illinois University was founded in 1895 and was first referred to as the Northern Illinois State Normal School. In 1921, the school's name changed to Northern Illinois State Teachers College, and then in 1955, the name would change yet again to Northern Illinois State College, and in 1957 was changed to Northern Illinois University, which is what the school is still known as to this day. The college has over 17,000 students, including undergraduate students, graduate students, and law students. The school employs over 3,000 faculty and staff, and the campus itself covers 755 acres. Included in that 755 acres are 64 major buildings and additional off-campus sites. Northern Illinois University is the city of DeKalb's largest employer and is the 3rd largest campus in the state of Illinois. The city of DeKalb is found about 55 miles west of downtown Chicago and has a population of over 42,000. When the school started, it was concentrated on educating teachers. Today, there are over 100 undergraduate programs. At one point in time, Northern Illinois University was ranked the 30th top college in the United States.
Northern Illinois University. Grit, determination, tenacity. We are Huskies. Champions. In the classroom, in competition, in life. We are Northern Illinois University. Learning today, leading tomorrow.
In December of the previous year, police found threats written on a campus bathroom stall. There were racial slurs and references to the Virginia Tech shooting, but investigators later concluded that the shooting at Northern Illinois University and the threats on campus were not related. We will be right back after these short messages. Adam was born on August 26, 1980, in Elk Grove, Illinois. Throughout his entire life, Adam was known as an outstanding student, earning himself straight A's in class.
A sociology grad student while at Northern last spring was an excellent student, winning high accolades from professors and peers alike.
He grew up in a relatively normal household, as so many of the shooters we do cover, with a mom, dad, and an older sister. His dad was a mail carrier, and his mom was a secretary. His older sister studied at the University of Illinois. Adam always felt like he was in competition with his older sister, and she always seemed to be more successful than he would ever be. Even though he was an exceptional student, he was still displaying impulsive behavior in his home. As a teenager, Adam was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder and was treated for mental illness at the Elk Grove Village Thresholds, Mary Hill House Psychiatric Center, because according to his family, he was being unruly at home. Growing up was not easy for Adam, and he was continuously bullied. He was hospitalized for suicide attempts and threats an astounding 6 times before he ever graduated high school. Adam was always being teased at school for being crazy and suicidal. His parents always sought medical attention for him, but it never really seemed to help. On April 8, 1997, Adam's parents asked the school to do a case study evaluation on their son as they became increasingly concerned with his behavior. The school denied this request and just gave the worried parents a book about students with disabilities. This is yet another tragic failure in America's mental health system. Adam was known to have participated in destructive activities while in school. He would light chemicals on fire, blow things up, shoot his pellet gun at cars driving by, and would make Drano bombs. While in middle school, Adam's mother called the police because she found items to make Drano bombs in his backpack, and she was concerned. The police questioned Adam, but no arrests or charges came from the incident. In 11th grade, he showed his friends a business card from the KKK, and further got into trouble for spray painting swastikas on concrete pipes. After graduating from Elk Grove High School in 1998, he spent 3 years in and out of different treatment programs and group homes for psychiatric patients. Adam enlisted in the Army in September of 2001. He enjoyed the strict structure of the military and thought that he would thrive in that environment. Unfortunately, in February of 2002, Adam was discharged from the Army before he even finished basic training. When filling out his application for the Army, he lied and stated that he had never been treated for mental illness. When the Army had found out that he indeed had been treated for mental illness, they made him leave. Since his military career didn't pan out the way he thought it would, Adam decided to enroll in college. He began school at Northern Illinois University in August of 2002. Adam lived in a dorm suite with 3 other students. His former roommates all described Adam the same: strange. He rarely ever came out of his room except to eat and go to class. He never participated in the normal college activities like parties and sporting events. He just stayed in his room and played video games. When he did speak, he would talk glowingly about Adolf Hitler, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, and other known killers. While at NIU, he was the vice president of the NIU chapter of the American Correctional Association. In 2004, Adam's family relocated to Florida, but Adam decided to stay in Illinois to continue his schooling. He received the Dean's Award from NIU and graduated in May of 2006. However, Adam decided to stay in DeKalb and enroll as a graduate student in sociology at NIU. Adam realized that he would like to pursue a master's degree in criminology, but Northern Illinois University had recently cut back on their advanced classes in criminology, and many of them were removed from their course catalog. Shortly after realizing this, Adam just quit going to his classes because the credits wouldn't transfer to the University of Illinois, and he didn't see much point in continuing. Adam decided he would get an advanced degree from the University of Illinois in Champaign, which was 3 hours away from DeKalb, Illinois. In June of 2007, Adam decided to make the move to Champaign, Illinois, and his on and off again girlfriend decided to follow him. We will refer to her as his girlfriend to clear up any confusion for the rest of the episode. They moved into an apartment together, but their relationship was rocky to say the least. The pair shared the rent, but decided to sleep in separate bedrooms. From September 24th, 2007 through October 10th, 2007, he worked at the Rockville Correctional Facility for Women as a corrections officer, and although he seemingly had no reason for quitting, he just stopped showing up. According to his girlfriend, Adam quit taking his medicine for about 3 weeks before the shooting. He said that they made him feel like a zombie, and it was hard for him to function. In the fall of 2007, Adam wrote an essay about whether people on antipsychotic meds should be allowed to buy and use firearms. Starting around Christmas of 2007, Adam started isolating himself again, but this time was worse than anyone had ever seen before. His behavior became even more impulsive, and his OCD tendencies became more apparent. Adam began washing his hands more than 20 times a day. He would wash the television remote if anyone else touched it, and he had an obsession with the number 3. He also started acting erratically and started sending his friends and family bizarre emails, talking about planning world domination and mass murder. Unfortunately, no one said anything about this behavior, and it went unreported. The firearms were purchased legally, in a manner of speaking. Adam lied on his firearm application and said that he had been off medication for 5 years, thereby making the purchases legal. We now know this was obviously not true, But without anyone following up on whether this was accurate or not, this man was able to legally purchase a firearm he had no right possessing. He bought his firearms locally at Tony's Guns and Ammo, and he also purchased a spring-loaded knife.
Now, Champaign is where authorities say he legally bought 2 of the 4 weapons used in the shooting rampage at NIU.
Once he received the shotgun, he sawed off the barrel of the firearm. Just 2 days before Adam carried out the shootings, he received 29mm Glock magazines and a handgun holster that he had purchased online. He purchased the items from the same website that the Virginia Tech shooter bought his firearm from. Shortly before Adam carried out the shooting, his girlfriend was able to talk him into going to see a psychiatrist, who put him back on medications. It wasn't long, however, before he stopped taking the medication yet again. At this point, Adam was plainly out of control. He was having sex with women he met online and would frequently go to the erotic seekers section on Craigslist. Though they had their ups and downs, his girlfriend said that Adam was never violent.
The person that I knew was not the one that walked into Cole Hall and did that. I mean, that wasn't I knew, and he was anything but a monster. He was probably the nicest, most caring person ever.
She admitted she knew about him having sex with strangers, but there was nothing that she could do or say because their relationship was so up and down, it wouldn't have done any good. Days before the shooting, Adam told his girlfriend that he was going to visit his sick godfather in DeKalb. Once he was back in DeKalb, he checked into a travel lodge where he stayed for 3 days leading up to the shooting. He also put together a package for his girlfriend, which contained books, gifts, and an engagement ring, along with one final note to her. She received this package shortly after the shooting, after Adam was already dead. Tragically, Adam's mom died from ALS in September of 2006, although he wasn't particularly upset about his mom's death, and he hadn't been close to her in years. He thought that his mother hated him and that she was afraid of him, which she very well could have been. His father was still alive at the time of the shooting, living in Florida in a retirement community, where he was bombarded by the media, who were trying to get a statement from him. His father came out onto his porch and through tears begged the media to go away.
Please leave me alone. I have no statement to make and no comment. Okay? I appreciate that. This is a very hard time. I'm on diabetic and I don't want to go into a relapse.
After the shooting, classes were canceled for the rest of the week, as well as the week following the shooting. Dorms, however, remained open, and there were 7 grief counseling centers set up on campus, and grief counseling hotlines were established. The governor declared a state of emergency for the city, which opened up the governor's disaster fund, which was available to the victims of the shooting. The hospital where the victims were taken reserved their conference room just for victims' family members, so they could stay away from the media frenzy that continued to grow. Snacks and drinks were also provided to all the families as well. On February 25, 2008, classes resumed. On May 8, 2008, Northern Illinois University announced that Cole Hall would be completely remodeled inside and out. Surveys were passed around before asking students, faculty, and alumni if they would like to see the hall demolished and rebuilt or remodeled. The results were overwhelmingly for the hall to be rebuilt. On January 14, 2011, construction on Cole Hall had officially started, and on January 17, 2012, the new Cole Hall was reopened. The students whose lives were tragically taken will always remain in the hearts of the NIU students and staff. It's important for us to discuss mental health issues and how we can make the system better. It is up to each and every one of us to take a stand and speak up when we see something concerning or alarming. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Active Shooter, the podcast. Make sure to also check us out on social media. We have a newly formed discussion group on Facebook. Just search for Active Shooter, the podcast discussion group. You can also find us on Instagram at Active the Podcast and Twitter at Podcast Active. And for just $1 a month, you can get access to ad-free episodes, early release episodes when available, and a shout out on the show. Just go to www.patreon.com/activethepodcast. Thank you, and be safe.